a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Ivanka Trump. Ivana Marie, Ivanka Trump is an American businesswoman, fashion designer, author and reality television personality. She is the daughter of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and former model Ivana Trump. Ivanka is her father's senior advisor and is also the first Jewish member of a first family, having converted before marrying her Jewish husband, Jared Kushner. Trump is a fourth-generation businessperson who followed in the footsteps of her great-grandmother Elizabeth Christ Trump, grandfather Fred Trump, and father Donald Trump. Ivanka was an executive vice president of the family-owned Trump Organization. She was also a boardroom judge on her father's TV show The Apprentice. She moved to Washington, D.C. in January 2017 after her husband was appointed senior advisor to the president. Starting in March 2017, she began serving in her father's presidential administration. She assumed this official, unpaid position after ethics concerns were raised about her having access to classified material while not being held to the same restrictions as a federal employee. She was considered part of the president's inner circle even before becoming an official employee in his administration. Early life. Ivana Marie Trump was born in Manhattan, New York City, and is the second child of Czech-American model Ivana and Donald Trump, who in 2017 became the 45th President of the United States. Her father has German and Scottish ancestry and her mother has Czech and Austrian ancestry. For most of her life, she has been nicknamed Ivanka, a diminutive form of Ivana. Trump's parents divorced in 1992, when she was 10 years old. She has two brothers, Donald Jr. and Eric, a half-sister, Tiffany, and a half-brother, Barron. Trump attended the Chapin School in Manhattan until she was 15, when she transferred to Choate Rosemary Hall in Wallingford, Connecticut. She characterized Choate's boarding school life as being like a prison, while her friends in New York were having fun. After graduating from Choate, she attended Georgetown University for 2 years, then transferred to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, from which she graduated cum laude with a bachelor's degree in economics in 2004. Her father had also transferred to Wharton after 2 years at another institution. Business. Trump briefly worked for Forest City Enterprises. In 2005, she joined the family business as Executive Vice President of Development and Acquisitions at the Trump Organization. In 2007, she formed a partnership with Dynamic Diamond Corporation, the company of diamond vendor Moshe Lax, to create Ivanka Trump Fine Jewelry, a line of diamond and gold jewelry, sold at her first flagship retail store in Manhattan. In November 2011, her retail flagship moved from Madison Avenue to 109 Mercer Street, a larger space in the fashionable Soho district. In December 2012, members of 100 Women in Hedge Funds elected Ivanka Trump to their board. On October 2, 2015, it was reported that Ivanka Trump's flagship store on Mercer Street appears to be closed, and noting that the shop had been stripped clean. In October 2016, the only dedicated retail shop and flagship boutique for Ivanka Trump Fine Jewelry is located at Trump Tower in Manhattan, New York City, with her brand also being available at Hudson's Bay and fine jewelry stores throughout the US and Canada, as well as in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. She also has her own line of Ivanka Trump fashion items, including clothes, handbags, shoes, and accessories, which is available in major US and Canadian department stores, including Macy's and Hudson's Bay. Her brand was criticized for allegedly copying designs by other designers, and by PETA and other animal rights activists for using fur from rabbits. In 2016, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission recalled Ivanka Trump branded scarves because they did not meet federal flammability standards. A 2016 analysis found that most of the fashion line was produced outside the U.S. Ivanka Trump brand shoes have been supplied by Chengdu Keimedo Shoes and Sichuan and Hangzhou HS Fashion in Zhejiang. In February 2017, department store chains Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom dropped Trump's fashion line, citing poor performance. On February 9, 2017, presidential advisor Kellyanne Conway controversially encouraged Fox News viewers to purchase Trump's retail products. In June 2017, 3 people with the organization called China Labor Watch were arrested by Chinese authorities while investigating Huijian International, which makes shoes for several American brands, including the Ivanka Trump brand. The Trump administration has called for their release. On July 24, 2018, Ivanka Trump announced that she decided to shut down her company after deciding to pursue a career in public policy instead of returning to her fashion company. Modeling. When Trump was attending boarding school as a teenager, she got into modeling, on weekends and holidays, and absolutely not during the school year, according to her mother, Ivana Trump. She was featured in print advertisements for Tommy Hilfiger and Sassen Jeans, and walked fashion runways for Versace, Marc Bauer, and Thierry Mugler. In May 1997, she was featured on the cover of 17, which ran a story on celeb moms and daughters. Trump joined the Trump Organization in an executive position. Soon after that, she started her jewelry, shoe, and apparel lines, and she appeared in advertisements promoting the Trump Organization and her products. She was also featured in women's and special interest publications in soft-hitting profiles focusing on her looks, lifestyles, and product lines, and featuring her on the cover of the same issue, like Harper's Bazaar, Forbes Life, Golf Magazine, Town and Country, and Vogue. She was featured on the cover of Stuff in August 2006, and again in September 2007. The Apprentice. In 2006, Trump filled in for Carolyn Kepcher on 5 episodes of her father's television program The Apprentice 5, first appearing to help judge the Gillette task in week 2. Like Kepcher, Trump visited the site of the tasks and spoke to the teams. Trump collaborated with Season 5 winner Sean Yesbeck on his winner's project of choice, Trump's Soho Hotel Condominium. She replaced Kepcher as a primary boardroom judge during the 6th season of The Apprentice and its follow-up iteration, The Celebrity Apprentice. Other TV appearances. In 1997, at the age of just 15, Trump co-hosted the Miss Teen USA pageant, which was partially owned by her father, Donald Trump, from 1996 to 2005. In 2006, she was a guest judge on Project Runway's 3rd season, and on Season 4 of Project Runway All-Stars. In 2010, Trump and her husband briefly portrayed themselves in Season 4 Episode 6 of Gossip Girl. 2016 presidential campaign and election. In 2015, she publicly endorsed her father's presidential campaign. She was involved with the campaign by making public appearances to support him and defending him. However, she admitted mixed feelings about his presidential ambitions, saying, in October 2015, "As a citizen, I love what he's doing. As a daughter, it's obviously more complicated." In August 2015, Donald Trump stated that she was his leading advisor on women's health and women, and said it was she who propelled him to elaborate on his views of women. In January 2016, Trump was featured in a radio ad which aired in the early voting states of Iowa and New Hampshire, in which she praised her father. She appeared by his side following the results of early voting states in 2016, in particular briefly speaking in South Carolina. She was not able to vote in the New York primary in April 2016, because she had missed the October 2015 deadline to change her registration from independent to Republican. Trump introduced her father in a speech immediately before his own speech at the 2016 Republican National Convention in July. The George Harrison song, "Here Comes the Sun," was used as her entrance music. She stated, "One of my father's greatest talents is the ability to see the potential in people," and said he would make America great again. Her speech was well received as portraying Donald Trump in a warmer-than-usual light, according to the Washington Post. An earlier Post article had questioned whether the policy positions Ivanka Trump espoused were closer to those of Hillary Clinton than to those of her father. After the speech, the George Harrison estate complained about the use of his song as being offensive to their wishes. The next morning, Ivanka's official Twitter account tweeted, "Shop Ivanka's look from her North Carolina speech," with a link to a Macy's page that featured the dress she wore. After her father's election, Trump wore a bracelet on a family appearance with the president-elect on 60 Minutes. Her company then used an email blast to promote the appearance of the bracelet. After critiques for monetization, the company quickly apologized, calling the publicity the work of a well-intentioned marketing employee at one of our companies who was following customary protocol. A spokeswoman said that the company was, post-election, proactively discussing new policies and procedures with all of our partners going forward. Ivanka Trump has collected the work of artists who have protested to her directly following her father's election victory. In January 2017, artist Richard Prince returned a $36,000 payment he received for a work featuring Ivanka and disavowed its creation. Other artists joined behind a movement created by the Hold Action group called Dear_Ivanka, which aimed to change Trump's policies by appealing to Ivanka. Among its supporters were contemporary artist Alex DeCorta, who told Trump to stay away from his paintings after she appeared in front of one on a social media post. On Friday, January 20, 2017, she attended the inauguration of Donald Trump as the 45th President of the United States, at the United States Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Advisor to the President of the United States. After Donald Trump's election, rumors swirled about the future role that Ivanka would play in her father's administration. In early 2017, she stepped down from her post at the Trump Organization. The organization also removed images of Trump and Donald Trump from their websites, in accordance with official advice on federal ethics rules. In the early months of her father's presidency, some commented that she was filling a quasi-First Lady role while First Lady Melania Trump remained in New York City. Trump stated that she had no intention of being First Lady. After advising her father in an unofficial capacity for the first 2 months of his administration, she was appointed advisor to the president, a government employee, on March 29, 2017. She takes no salary. Prior to becoming a federal employee, she used a personal email for government work, amid the contentious early months of her father's administration. Some commentators compared her role in the administration to that of Julie Nixon Eisenhower, daughter of President Richard Nixon. Julie was one of the Nixon administration's most vocal defenders, and Trump defended the Trump administration and her father personally against a myriad of allegations. Washington Post opinion columnist Alyssa Rosenberg wrote, "Both daughters served as important validators for their fathers." In early April 2017, the government of China extended trademarks to Trump's businesses. On the same day, Donald Trump hosted Chinese President Xi Jinping at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump and Kushner sat next to the Chinese leader and his wife Peng Liyuan at the state dinner. Also during the visit, Trump and Kushner's 5-year-old daughter Arabella sang a traditional Chinese song, in Mandarin, for Xi. The video, which was lavishly praised by Chinese state media, played over 2.2 million times on China's popular news portal, Tencent QQ. In late April 2017, Trump hired Julie Radford as her chief of staff. Before the end of the month, Trump and Radford had plans to travel with Dina Powell and Hope Hicks to the first W20 Women's Summit. The W20 was organized by the National Council of German Women's Organizations and the Association of German Women Entrepreneurs as one of the preparatory meetings leading up to the G20 Head of State Summit in July. At the conference, Trump spoke about women's rights. She was booed by the audience when she praised her father as an advocate for women. In a recent announcement, Donald Trump said that his daughter will lead the U.S. delegation to India this fall in a global support of women's entrepreneurship. In response to this announcement, an Indian diplomat was quoted as stating, "We regard Ivanka Trump the way we do half-wit Saudi princes. It's in our national interest to flatter them." Biographer and journalist Michael Wolff wrote a book that is based on numerous interviews with members of Donald Trump's circle. In an extract of this book, Wolff claims, but cites no sources, that Trump and her husband have reached a deal that, if sometime in the future the opportunity arose, she'd be the one to run for president. She has also received criticism on Twitter for acting as Secretary of State after the firing of Rex Tillerson by meeting with the South Korean foreign minister. Social and political causes. In July 2016, at the Republican National Convention, Trump said of her political views, "Like many of my fellow millennials, I do not consider myself categorically Republican or Democrat." In 2007, Trump donated $1,000 to the presidential campaign of Hillary Clinton. In 2012, Trump endorsed Mitt Romney for president. In 2013, Trump and her husband hosted a fundraiser for Democrat Cory Booker, and the couple bundled more than $40,000 for Booker's U.S. Senate campaign. Trump says she is an advocate for women and Israel. Philanthropy. Trump has ties to a number of Jewish charities, including Child Lifeline, a charity which helps to look after children with cancer. Other charities she supports include United Hatzalah, to which her father, Donald Trump, has made six-figure donations in the past. After she was appointed advisor to the president, Trump donated the unpaid half of the advance payments for her book Women Who Work, Rewriting the Rules for Success to the National Urban League and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. She further said that any royalties exceeding the advances will also be given to charity. Personal life. In January 2017, it was announced that Trump and her husband had made arrangements to establish a family home in the Kalorama neighborhood of Washington, D.C. Federal filings implied that, in 2017, Trump and her husband may have assets upwards of $740 million. According to her mother, Ivanka Trump speaks French and understands Czech. Sarah Ellison, writing for Vanity Fair in 2018, indicated that Ivanka Trump was the family member whom everyone in the family seems to acknowledge is Donald Trump's favorite child. This was previously confirmed by the family members themselves in an interview with Barbara Walters on network television from 2015, where the siblings were gathered together and acknowledged that she was the favorite among the siblings. Relationships. During college, Trump was in a nearly 4-year relationship with Greg Hirsch, an investment banker at Salomon Brothers, Bear Stearns, and UBS. From 2001 to 2005, she dated James "Bingo" Gubelman. In 2005, she started dating real estate developer Jared Kushner, whom she met through mutual friends. The couple broke up in 2008 due to the objections of Kushner's parents, but they got back together and married in a Jewish ceremony on October 25, 2009. They have 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons, born in 2011 and later. In an interview on The Dr. Ross Show, Trump revealed that she had suffered from postpartum depression after each of her pregnancies. Trump has a close relationship with her father, who has publicly expressed his admiration for her on several occasions. Ivanka has likewise praised her father, complimenting his leadership skills and saying he empowers other people. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?